Today's political drama just got international. Donald Trump's visit to the UK has turned into a global spectacle, and even King Charles III got in on the action, delivering a speech that seemed to cut straight at Trump's weak spots. Let's dive right into what happened, starting with the protests that greeted Trump the moment he landed.
Just as President Trump stepped back onto British soil, protesters beamed his photo with the late convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein onto Windsor Castle, where the president will be feted today. It was prelude to the mass demonstration in London today by UK-based activist group the Stop Trump Coalition.
We feel disgusted, we feel humiliated.
Seema Saida is its spokesperson.
Why protest Trump's visit?
So that we can show that there's mass resistance to Trump's politics and Starmer's humiliating appeasement of Trump.
This is the first image the world saw of Trump back in the UK. Protests and a massive Epstein projection on Windsor Castle. The symbolism couldn't be more brutal. But what happened next might sting even more. At the state dinner, King Charles delivered remarks that, while polite on the surface, landed like a direct challenge to Trump's foreign policy record.
Our countries have the closest defense, security and intelligence relationship ever known. In 2 world wars, we fought together to defeat the forces of tyranny. Today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and secure peace. And our AUKUS submarine partnership with Australia sets the benchmark for innovative and vital collaboration.
That wasn't just a history lesson. It was a clear reminder that the UK expects the US to stand firm against Russian aggression. Trump, who has repeatedly questioned support for Ukraine and NATO, sat there looking visibly uncomfortable. Let's break this down further with expert analysis.
And again, the major existential problems in terms of foreign policy, as we keep saying, are first and foremost for Europe, the land war in Europe that is being waged by President Putin with no regard for what President Trump says or anybody else in the NATO alliance says. He just keeps escalating until he gets pushed back firmly. And I think it was really important that at the state banquet, the king, who doesn't get into overt politics but can speak, he basically said in his speech, today, as tyranny once again threatens Europe, we and our allies stand together in support of Ukraine to deter aggression and secure peace. President Trump was seated there, he nodded, but we still, as everybody's saying, have to see the President of the United States using the leverage that only the United States has, only the President of the United States has, to affect these wars in Ukraine and, of course, in the Middle East. The President of the United States is the only human being on earth who can have leverage with Prime Minister Netanyahu. And the fact that he's not using that leverage is being, noticed by allies and analysts. I mean, they say that, this is a president who could do it, and it was alluded to in one question there, but so far hasn't exerted his influence. No matter and despite the horror of October 7th, nobody's diminishing that. In fact, those who say it would be just a reward for Hamas also, need to understand that, as Starmer said, Hamas does not want a two-state solution when it comes to the recognition of a Palestinian state, and it would diminish Hamas if there was a proper, globally accepted, globally policed political resolution to what's happening between Israel and the Palestinians. And yet, UNGA coming up, and the United States has denied visas to the only legitimately recognized by the US, by Israel, by the world community, Palestinian Authority. Mahmoud Abbas and his delegations are being banned, but there is, I understand, something in the works for them to address by some other means the UN General Assembly.
This is a key moment. The King's speech, combined with this analysis, highlights 2 glaring issues: Trump's lack of pressure on Putin over Ukraine and his unwillingness to use U.S. influence to de-escalate the crisis in Gaza. Instead of taking a clear stand, Trump appears more interested in optics, and those optics aren't great when he's being quietly rebuked in front of global leaders. Allies are watching, and they are noticing the silence from Washington on both fronts. This isn't just about diplomacy, it's about leadership. If the U.S. doesn't lead, who will? And if Trump continues to shrug off NATO and global stability, the power vacuum will only be filled by adversaries. We'll keep covering Trump's UK trip, the fallout from these speeches, and what this means for U.S. credibility on the world stage. If you value independent breakdowns of global politics like this, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share your thoughts below. Do you think King Charles intentionally called out Trump, or was this just a diplomatic coincidence?